All right, I'm back from gallivanting around up at Carlisle. Had a pretty good time. Met up with a lot of people that watch these videos online, and some people who follow me on Facebook. And got to rest my jaw up now because I've been running it for 2 days solid. But I'll see if I can't muster enough strength to make it through this video this week. At any rate, picking up where I started off, or picking up where I left off last week, trying to make this temporary rear glass. And the first thing I'm doing is basically putting a crown in it in this direction so that it's stout. It doesn't want to cave in. And you can see that this window is far from a flat glass, like most people just assume that it is, because it's such a large expanse. And when I cut this plexiglass and just laid it in there, it fit in pretty good just laying there. So I could have laid it in flat, but then it would have had a tendency for the wind to push it down and collapse it. So now that I've got these arcs in this direction, of course this is a piece of flat Lexan. It's not going to really, unless I heat it up, and there's a whole process to get a bubble in this glass, which I'm not going to go through. It's unnecessary. This is a temporary piece, just for test driving. At any rate, I've got to try and get a little arc in this direction here so that the glass wants to roll down to the sides over here. And I'll be doing this using the same process, but without these upper straps here. This is basically being sandwiched between that 1-inch piece that I shrunk to the shape of the glass, and that aluminum strap that's going on the top side, just to kind of hold everything together there. This is a little less critical. I'll just be shaping a couple of pieces to go in this direction so that we don't have to force this down with the screws, because I don't want there to be too much tension on the clips that I'm going to have to make, because I can't screw in here, I can't drill in here, because this is the actual window bed that the glass has to get glued to. So I can't actually screw it down to this bed. I have to come up with clips that'll clip onto the bottom edge here between the headliner and this bed here, something that I could screw down into through the sides. So that's what I'll be doing. I guess I'm not over my jibber jabber stage from last week, but we'll move on from here. All right, this being a temporary window, I've had to figure a way how I was going to attach it to the car without actually attaching it to the car, in the sense that I don't want to drill or tap or put any holes in this window bed, because this is what the finished glass is going to have to glue down to. And so what I've come up with is these clips that I made up. First thing I did was I rounded over the edges of the sheet metal, and then I buffed them down with a Scotch-Brite pad on both sides to make sure there were no sharp edges on this bottom side here. And then there's a welded 1024 nut on the bottom side here. And how this is going to work is this is the headliner, and this is the bottom side of this flange. So this will slip in here like this around the perimeter every so often, and line up with the holes that I'm going to drill into the Lexan glass. And then I'll just run some 1024 bolts through here to hold the glass in. This way, this will be strong enough to, I'll have about 12 clips around the perimeter here, spaced out, and that'll hold that in. Finally, I'll just go around and I'll put a little bit of duct tape around here to seal up the gap in the window, so that my temporary doesn't whistle in the wind. At any rate, I just thought you'd like to see that. That's just what I ended up coming up with after thinking about it long and hard. And what that does is that that's a pretty solid connection right there, especially when there'll be one in the other hooked in the other direction. There'll be a countervailing force, so it won't want to come free, so it'll be all the way around the perimeter. Hopefully that works out good. I don't want to leave the window on the highway someplace if I'm test driving this thing. Okay, so there's the temporary window bolted into place. That's a little boofed up here and there, but no need to worry about all that, because like I said, this is just temporary for test drive. purposes only, and needed something to fill the hole. Say, well, why don't you just put the other glass in? Well, it has to be painted around the window bed before the glass can go in. There's a 1/4-inch foam dam that has to go around the inside perimeter, which you can't put this in. If you have that in there, there's no way to hold that in unless you glue it in. All kinds of issues. Also, it's a $2,000 piece of glass, and it's not something I want to mess with until it's absolutely necessary. It's bad enough I got to dump it in here, mask it out, pull it back out, and paint it, and all that good stuff. So at least I got to handle it, the better. At any rate, this is what it's looking like, and so time to move on to the next thing. All right, time to figure out how I'm going to loom all these wires around in this door. See if I can't remember which way they all went and how to keep them out of the way of the door glass, and figure out a way to make them secure so they can be taken out if necessary. Anyway, that's the next task at hand, is to try to get all this stuff inside the door plugged back in, and wish me luck. All right, I've been working all day today trying to get all the guts into this door and trying to get this window located to where it lines up with the seals again. Had some redos, had to move the track around quite a bit. A lot of wire looming that had to go on, getting the wires wrapped around so they didn't get involved with the window tracking. I had to actually take and recut this entire top, taper down to nothing, because for some reason or other, when the window rolled up, it actually was pushing on this a little too hard, making it a little tough for the motor to, it was basically causing some resistance. The curvature of the glass was running into this. So I've messed around with the tracks, kicked them in, kicked them out. There's only so much I can do as far as moving any of this stuff in there. Everything's right up against everything else. So yeah, so hopefully the other door will go a little bit more quickly, but that's where I'm at right now. I got to put all this this temporary stuff here that basically you can stick it and unstick it. I'm going to put a piece of maybe some 10 millimeter plastic over top of this, just to keep the moisture to the inside of the door panel. Anyway, I'm going to make an attempt at that tomorrow, but had a little bit of maneuvering I had to do with the latch. It was kind of rubbing. Turns out I never finished tightening one of the hinges there, so the door had a little tiny bit of, probably about less than 1/8 of an inch of sag, but it was enough to cause that to rub. So I had to do a little jacking around with that and with the hinges over there, and I'm reconfiguring how I attach these little side panels, because I had them riveted in with stainless steel rivets, which are murderous to try and drill out. So I got rid of those. I'm just going to screw those two panels in with a couple of tech screws. That way, if that ever needs to come off for any reason, it won't be a nightmare. Also, it needs to come off to paint the jams on the car. So yeah, drilling those, that wasn't a good idea to put stainless steel screw rivets in that area right there. You know, just going over the some territory that I thought I had ironed out that wasn't quite where it needed to go. That's all part of it, but I hate that this is all going to have to come back apart again to get painted, but that's the business. Anyway, moving on. All right, so I've got this plastic barrier stuck up on here with this like a butyl, but it's more like chewing gum, and basically similar to what they use from the factory. So it can be pulled off there and then restuck, hopefully. But anyway, it's the last thing I want to do before I start trying to put the door handles or the door panels back on. See how that goes. Okay, so that's everything back together on this side. I still have to put the rubber seal on here, and I have to deal with rubber seal over here. I have to make something up over here that's going to finish out this little detail over here down to the sill plate. I'm in the process of putting in this closure over here. I've got this quarter glass in now, which has worked out pretty good. I like the way that this D-bulb is really in there pretty tight, so we don't have to add any kind of silicone or any kind of urethane, I should say, to the front edge of this glass. It's just got to get tucked in just like that. That works out okay. At any rate, moving on. Okay, so I've got the door seals on. Didn't want to put them on because they're, it's a clip, but I have to make sure that I've got everything works before I send this off to paint. So I had to trim these down because obviously we don't have the vent window in here any longer, and it's taken every bit of self-control I got from oiling up these hinges on this door, but I can't because they still have to be painted, and that'll just make a mess for Chris. So I got to leave them raw. You can hear them go, a little squeaky there, and so everything closes just fine, and we're good to go on this side for the most part. I still have to deal with some that transition coming in around here and down around here, running into this where the sill plate is. Finish that up. Anyway, I'm going to be up to that next. All right, so starting to look more like a car again. I've got the glass in on this side over here. I've got the glass in on this side over here as far as the quarter windows are concerned. The glass is in the door. I'm going to start out with it down in the hole though, because I can't roll it all the way up because of this. I won't be able to open and close the doors till the car's powered up. But again with the squeaky hinge, but door panel's on there. The inner door panel is on over there, also over here. So I've got to work on the back seat. I have to cut the headrests off, which will be a little bit of a job. Although they won't fit in here because the headliner is a little low by comparison to them. Rugs are in, thresholds are in over here, so this is all ready to go. Hate that this all has to come back out again, but it does because the car's got to get painted, so a lot of this has got to come back out just to get these little moldings and stuff off in order to paint the body. At any rate, that's where I am with this, and I'm going to have to pull this temporary glass back out and put the actual glass back in, so I can mask it out for the perimeter for the blackout, or both around the third tail light and around the perimeter, so I can back paint the glass. And also see if there's any issues with the fitment on that glass. I built the whole bed with the glass itself, so hopefully there won't be any issues. The same with the windshield here. I have to fit the actual glass in here, and so I can see where I need to mask it out to make sure we obscure the edges here with a blackout. And so then I have to take the mock-up windshield and figure out a way to install that. It'll be a very similar situation to what I have over here, but not through the glass. I'll have to go in between the glass edges. Hopefully I have enough room. I think I got about a little bit over 1/4 of an inch, almost 3/8 of an inch around the windshield edge, but I'll have to make similar clips like that, but move them off to the space between the glass and then put over clips. I'll be doing all of that hopefully next week, but one of the other tasks took me almost 3 days to do was fitting out and adjusting that window and the travel of the window and the seals and the door and everything else that had to be finalized in that door over there. So I've got that same task sitting ahead of me over here. Not a small job because of everything is max clearance as far as how the glass comes down and where the speaker is. And I mean, there's just very little room to move if I have to do any kind of adjustment to get it to go meet the seals a little bit better than anyway. So yeah, so we're not there yet, but we're closing in on it. And appreciate everybody who's been watching up to this point. And that doesn't squeak as much as the other side. That's kind of nice. Anyway, this is where we're at. We're almost ready for our moon mission. And we'll be plugging this thing in pretty soon in the next couple of weeks and seeing if all the bells and whistles still work. Cross your fingers. Anyway, that's where I'm at this week, and that's where I'm going to wrap it up. And I will see you on the next one.